Be ready, 5 seconds. The presence of such substances in the environment which can be harmful to the various forms of life on the earth is what we term as pollution. Under this category, the contamination of water bodies is specifically referred to as water pollution. Lakes, oceans, rivers, and groundwater mainly constitute the water bodies on the earth. However, due to various activities, especially of the human beings, this water has been contaminated to such an extent that researchers have been forced to study the effect of this phenomenon on the life on earth. The contamination of water bodies can be classified into three types, mainly groundwater pollution, marine pollution, and surface water pollution. Contaminated water from drains and industries, which flows above the topmost layer of the soil, usually creeps into the soil and gets mixed with the groundwater, thereby polluting it. This contaminated water then interacts with the nutrients present in the soil and alters their quality. This is termed as groundwater pollution. Similarly, the wastewater released from the industries flows into the river and thereby reaches the seas and oceans. This is termed as marine pollution. It affects humans and has an adverse effect on marine life as well. In the case of surface water pollution, the wastewater remains on the surface of the earth and pollutes it. This leads to the deficiency of nutrients in the soil, as nutrients from other sources are not able to penetrate in the soil due to the presence of this contaminated water. Pollutants such as mercury, asbestos, lead, and petrochemicals, which are released as industrial waste, find their way in the water bodies and contaminate them. Often, this makes the water unfit not only for drinking but also for domestic use and survival of marine life as well. There have been numerous occasions where groups of dead fish have swept ashore at a given time due to the sudden increase of such chemicals in the water. Moreover, the spillage of oil from the ships often creates a hindrance for the oxygen in the air to get dissolved in water, thereby making it difficult for the marine animals to breathe. Another instance where the water bodies get contaminated is due to the release of sewage and wastewater directly into the bodies without being treated. Untreated wastewater can at times pose to be very poisonous, not only for human life but for fishes as well. Global warming is another phenomenon which has been often credited with the cause of increasing water pollution. There has been a rise in water temperature levels due to global warming, which has even led to the death of water animals as well as plants, as they were not able to survive in the increased temperatures. Radioactive waste is another major cause of water pollution. Radioactive substances are utilized in atomic power plants, mechanical, medicinal, and other procedures. They can be found in watches, glowing timekeepers, and TVs. If not appropriately discarded, radioactive waste can result in genuine water contamination episodes. Dumping of litters in water bodies can cause water pollution. Litters incorporate glass, plastic, aluminium, styrofoam, and so on. They influence amphibian plants and creatures. It has become of utmost importance for all of us that we must seriously think over executing some strong steps so as to decrease, if not stop, this ever-growing menace of water pollution. First and above all, in villages where lack of education is high among the rustic individuals, there ought to be state-funded training from those talented in these fields to assist the provincial individuals with stopping the release of waste in the water bodies. Moreover, wrong fishing practices should be controlled. In the urban zones, industries and production lines let out a considerable measure of their waste into the water bodies. An appropriate fine forced on them, and in addition, publication of their wrongdoing will enable them to stop these practices. Laws ought to guarantee that such industries stop from rough spillage strategies which wreck water assets like fish, lobsters, and so on. Using radio and TV with adverts on the impacts of water contamination additionally ought to be urged to get the message across. The more developments there are to lessen water pollution, the more secure the water bodies will be. There ought to be legitimate transfer of both solid and fluid waste. Experts in charge of waste administration in the nation must allot territories to discard waste so that waste is not spilt all around. Businesses ought to be set up to reuse waste materials. Water pollution can be controlled if agriculturists are made to apply agro-synthetic concoctions legitimately on their farms through state-provided instructions. This will reduce the spillage of such synthetic compounds into waterways, lakes, tidal ponds, and streams when rain falls. Water has played a noticeable role in the sustenance of life on the earth.